Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Like here. Excuse me. I think I need a drink of water. But Jesus. So, there's been so many people that haven't really gone back to work. And as of course, with all the privileged people that I know of, they always talk about how, people just want to be lazy and don't want to go back to work. But the truth is, I mean, yeah, there's probably a big deal of people that are just lazy. Don't get me wrong, but let's just take a look back at, let's say, just even a few years ago, before the COVID BS and everything happened. So, what do you guys remember of, what work was like before then, or even right before COVID thing happened, etc.? Well, what I remember, and I think it's because some people forget because of COVID, is that in and out of work, I would hear and even know people that would always talk about how they're just living either paycheck to paycheck, or they weren't even able to do that. They would have like three jobs, so to speak, and they would have to make choices between, making rents and or eating that day, etc. And this is actually it was a lot of people that even I personally talked to that were like that. And this is not just from around here. This is world, I'd say countrywide, basically, at least. And my thoughts even at the time were, why are all these people, they have like sometimes up to three, 2 to 3 jobs, and yet they still are not making rent, because they're still are only getting paid minimum wage here. Let's say around here is 7.75 still. They're only getting paid that much, and they are just not making rents, or even sometimes on $9 to $10 an hour. And even then they still are not making rent. They're working 40 to 60 hours a week, not making rent. And that's just what I remember from just a few years ago before COVID happened. And then when COVID happened, I think that a lot of people just kind of realized, that a lot of their stress was just from their jobs. That their jobs, they just sucked. And they just even would toss people out like they're fucking candy. They would just treat their employees like they're candy. I mean, especially around here in a place with no, opportunity here in Iowa, especially around rural areas like this. They just treat their employees like they're candy, and they just toss them out for just stupid ass reasons. And I know not every place was like that before COVID happened, at least, but like there was just so many people I've met. It's like their jobs just suck. They can't make their rents, etc. And of course, my thought is, and this is just from an employee that's experienced multiple different jobs like that, which is just a simple fact of, why should I even work when I don't even have enough money to make rent? Is the thing. It's like you might as well just be fucking homeless. And you could still probably even make enough money to get some food together, even when you're homeless. You might as well just live in your fucking car or something and just be fucking homeless, or your truck or whatever you have. And that's just kind of my thoughts on that. Is like, why even work when you can't even afford a place to live or a place to sleep, and be able to do this kind of stuff? It's just like there's no fucking point, because minimum wage, for a long time has supposed to be, a living wage where you can at least afford a place to sleep, you can afford to at least get something to eat, etc. But for the past, what, 10 years or so, at least, it hasn't been that. It hasn't even been close. And so finally, when COVID happened, I think it's kind of what jump started it to the fact that people just realized, we've just been working all of these bullshit jobs. We've been doing these meaningless tasks for these people for long hours, sometimes multiple jobs. We aren't getting paid enough to live off of. We're getting treated like crap. Just why even go to these fucking jobs is the thing for these bullshit jobs. And that's another thing. It's just these bullshit jobs with these meaningless tasks that you do for long ass fucking hours. And you don't see the end result of it, nothing. They're just meaningless tasks that you just do for God knows how long, all day, half a day, whatever. And it's just like, why even fucking work at these places? You know what I mean? I remember back in the 90s, people had money, is the thing. We had money in the past, and I guess I'll talk about that in a bit. But I remember like this area used to like have people walking on the streets and everything. People had money. We could afford, to buy a house like we're supposed to. The housing market was really good at the time, etc. And because of what's happened, during that recession when I was 18 years old and 2007 when it I would say officially kind of got bad. And then suddenly that just made the inflation way up because they made the living cost way up suddenly. Suddenly the housing market crashed. Stock kind of, to an extent, crashed, etc. And ever since then, it's just been so shitty with jobs. And even when they've been able to pay us more and, just etc., give us some spending money, something, they just still haven't been doing it until finally recently. They haven't upped their pay finally until recently. But then now because of what's been happening for so long, people haven't really been going back, is the thing. And it's because people have been reflecting on their lives. They've been looking at themselves. They're like, hey, I've been working all the time at this meaningless job that doesn't even pay well enough. And I'm not even doing something that I'm happy with doing with my life. So, and, COVID happened. And then I think it also kind of woke people up. They think, hey, this is this COVID shit happening right now. And, yet we still have all these corrupt a-holes at work telling me that I need to go to work and make them money. It's like, why should I keep on working for this jackass that just wants more money? And I'm just coming to work for them, basically. And, I would say it's many things, really. Many reasons why people are doing this. And yeah, there's those people that are just lazy and I don't really have any respect for. But, you've also got to look at it this way. If you're a privileged kind of person, like some of the people that I know, it's more to it than just, all these people are just lazy. There's a lot more to the story than that. It's just, yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen in the future. Eventually people, are going to start going back to work and all that like they're supposed to, I would say. But for the most part, this just seems like kind of an ongoing problem now because it's been happening for a little while now. And so until, things, start to inflate in the way that they're supposed to, until people are starting to get places that they can actually afford and, jobs that pay well enough, accordance to that, etc. I think that this is going to just be an ongoing thing until like the bullshit finally ends, at least for the most part. But with everything that's been going on, I'm not sure. It could be at least a few more years before this happens, at least. because this is just one big fucking mess that's been going on. And even the mess from the recession over 10 years ago hasn't been cleaned up. Just think of that. So yeah, this is just going to be an ongoing thing in my opinion. But we'll just have to see. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.